Do you have continuity or association plan for your business?
Has anyone shared the concept of sustainability with you?
What about the need to protect the rights of minority shareholders?
What are those ingredients germane to having effective meetings?
For these and many more, tune into Corporate Governance Platform every Thursday on MITV, your darling station, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 at 4:30 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform is your best medium for informative and educative strategies for the practice of the corporate governance profession.
Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
Hello and many thanks for joining your favorite program on TV, Corporate Governance Platform. The program is proudly brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals. And we are broadcasting live from MITV Lagos. I'm Dr. Tunde Odeyemi. And in today's episode, we are going to be looking at the role of ethics and its influence on corporate brand. And to do justice to this particular topic is a governance practitioner, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, and of course a member of the Governing Council of ICSAN, Mr. BABATUNDE PELEWURA, FCIS. Mr. PELEWURA was educated at the London School of Accountancy, United Kingdom, Bayero University, Kanu, and the University of Calabar. Mr. PELEWURA is a chartered banker, chartered secretary and administrator. He is also a chartered stockbroker. He traversed the banking industry for over 27 years, having worked at First Bank Limited, International Merchant Bank Limited, Crown Merchant Bank Limited, and UBA Capital and Trust Limited, where he retired as a regional manager North in the year 2010. He is a CMD certified advanced trainer and a full member of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, NITAD, a faculty member of ICSAN's Train the Trainers program. Mr. PELEWURA is the CEO of Golden Teas Nigeria Limited, a company engaged in business and advisory services, training and manpower development, induction, governance audit, board evaluation, and company secretarial services. Mr. PELEWURA teaches corporate governance, corporate law and company secretarialship and board dynamics for the qualifying examinations of the Institute. He is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators both in the UK and in Nigeria, fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers in UK and Nigeria, fellow of the Enterprise Risk Management Professional. Mr. PELEWURA is a council member of ICSAN and chairs the Audit and Risk Management Committee. He is also a member of the Governing Council Disciplinary Committee, and he has contributed professional articles in ICSAN published journals. Mr. BABATUNDE PELEWURA, FCIS, it's nice to have you on Corporate Governance Platform.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adeyemi.
We are going to be discussing the role of ethics and its influence on corporate brands. I think at this point, I would like to extend opportunities to our viewers to be part of the show by asking questions or making comments on this show. And to do that, you only need to send text message to 080-2323-1287. I take that again. Send text message only, no phone calls, please, to be part of the show. You can ask questions, you can make comments to 080-2323-1287. And we are discussing the role of ethics and its influence on corporate brand. Mr. PELEWURA, let's start this conversation by asking, what really is ethics?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Adeyemi. Ethics is a broadened concept that one can begin to discuss from now until forever, but let us just look at ethics that examines the justification for our moral behaviors, whether among ourselves or even to activities. It is the thing that tells us whether the thing that we are doing is right or wrong, good or bad. That's ethics.
Okay, it examines the justifications for our moral behaviors.
Yes.
Okay. Then how does ethical culture relate with corporate governance?
Oh, great. Corporate governance itself deals about ethics, and everything about governance has to do with the culture and climate of responsibility, if you want to define corporate governance. Responsibility, fairness, accountability, transparency. But it's not only stop there. If it is not effectively deployed throughout an organization or even in a community or country, as it were, then it will not be effective. And to do this, ethics comes into it. Ethics governs the thing that really you want to achieve. You have an objective when you set up a company, okay, or in a community, you have objective that drives it. Ethics is the driver of those objectives, because you have to set standard of behavior for all the other, all the players in all this circle, in the field of play. Then there must be rules and regulations that must guide every member towards achieving the desired objectives. That's why ethics is very important. Let me again extend it a little bit, because there is this German professor, Professor Kant, has defined theory on ethics. There is what he called non-consequential ethics, and there's the one that they call situational. There is even the relativism. All these are, well, when they talk about situational, say it depends. When you set a rule and something happens, they say, well, it depends. And relativism is that of, well, it depends on what happens at that time relative to the other. Okay. That is still talking about ethics. But non-consequential, I said, well, you have to tell the truth. When we set a standard, we have to abide by it. Whether anything happens, you face the consequence. And that's the non-consequential theory of ethics. That's how important ethics is in a given situation, especially in business environment.
Okay, in all that you have said,
yes,
does ethical culture have any impact on the corporate brand itself?
Very much.
You have said ethics is about justifying and examining the moral justifications for something that is bad or good and things like that. And you have related it to corporate governance.
Yes.
Now, how does it impact on the corporate brand?
Yes. If there is no ethics, we call in corporate governance, you have what ethical foundations, and that is based on ethical code of conduct. Okay. If we are setting up a corporation or a company or an entity, you set the goals. This is what we want to do, this is what we want to achieve, and this is how we want to go about it. But these are the rules governing everybody from the CEO to the people at the ground floor. That's what ethics does. The code, putting this together, is called ethical code. And in some cases, they call it ethical code of corporate governance. Okay. You put that one down, then anything that is outside that will be bad behavior, which must be visited by consequences. And if organization follow this, that it has set for itself, it means that the company is most likely to do well. That's why it comes in. Ethical consideration, ethical code of conduct. Don't do this, it is wrong for our business. Do this, you must do this for our business, it's good for our business. If you have set that standard, that is called ethical codes, that individual organization and employees in that organization must have and be aware of. So any deviations from that is a problem and must be visited with consequence.
Okay.
Yes, there must be consequence for bad behavior or any deviation from that, there must be sanctions.
So in essence, what you're saying is that those standards, those rules, will enhance the corporate brand.
Correct.
Okay.
Because to have that, if you set yourself a goal and you now say to get it, you have to do this and that, yes, Doing this will enhance our profitability, will enhance our reputation. But anything that does anything contrary to what we have set here as standard will not bring will bring bad reputation to our company. And that's why it's very important for any organization to have ethical code and to make it so general, meaning that everybody must be aware of it and key into it from the bottom, from the top to the bottom.
Okay, you mentioned reputation.
Yes.
What's the relationship between ethics, the reputation of the company, and investors' confidence?
Fantastic. They are related, and I will just use an example to demonstrate what the importance of that is. Now, code of ethics will be meaningless if we just say that our company is to do this and we are not going to take bribe, for example, from anyone, any suppliers. We are going to treat them very well. You do all that kind of a thing, and you put it in front of your office for everybody to see. If the employees, including the board of the company, are not following that to the letter, then that will affect the reputation of the company, and people will get to know easily. The example that I want to cite is that of Eva touched on about Enron business. We were told that before 2001, Enron was the largest energy company in the world, so to say, yes. But in 2002, Enron ceased to exist because of reputation and what it was doing. Look, we were told that the CEO had this to all employees, that we have to protect the reputation of this company because the reputation not only reflects on the company, but on ourselves. And this thing is the banner is put in front of the company and in every offices of the company, we were told. But a year later, Enron went down for the same reason that they said they were championing.
Wonderful.
And Kelly, I mean, I think is the CEO. There is Jeffrey Skilling, and there is the other one. The CEO had to commit suicide years before. They were both jailed for this. And look, when we talk about reputation, it brought Enron down completely. It's not the only company that in the world that has failed a reputation test because of corporate governance issues. We have WorldCom in the same year, 2001, and we have the Tyco, that's Dennis Kilo's Whiskey, who is the CEO of that Tyco company. In drafting his own code of ethics or contract of service, it was written there that CEO of that company will not be dismissed even if he committed felony, as long as it will not affect directly damage the company directly. What kind of contract of service of that? But the guy went about doing whatever he liked, like taking money from the company anyhow, having 2.5, I remember very well, $2.5 million to have his wife's birthday from the company's purse.
Okay, let me take you up on the Enron's example that you gave.
Yes.
And you actually said that the Enron CEO committed suicide.
Yes.
Now we know that the board of directors of companies are expected to model a top-down commitment to ethical standards.
Correct.
Now, why do you think it's from the board down to the lowest ladder? And in doing this, what is the role of the management? Because board alone is not supposed to be liable alone if there is a breach of ethical standard. So what is the role of the management in all this?
Yeah, we have to now look at what the duties of directors are to start with.
Okay.
And I have an acronym that we can share here. The first of is append. First of all, directors are to act within their powers. They are to protect the interest, to promote the interest of the company, the success of the company, and to exercise independent judgment, skill and care. All those things are for directors. And they are the ones to come up with the ethical code that we are talking about. If they are saying, don't do this to the management and the employees on the floor, and they are seen doing the same thing, the employees after some time will not take them serious. And what they don't want to happen will happen. So it has to begin from the top to the bottom in terms of ethical conduct. It must be reflected in the board. Then those at the management level, the CEO is representing the management at the board level. Then that it will trickle down, and they will know that the board does not take nonsense. But if they see that the board is not doing what he is expecting it to do in terms of correct behavior, they will sometimes misbehave.
Okay, what are the likely consequences if a director of a company misuses corporate information for personal benefits?
Oh, we are going into the issue of now not disclosure, inside trading, inside dealing. As a stockbroker, I know that if you have a customer, your customer is having transactions with you, and you have knowledge of those information, because it's going to be profitable to you or to somebody you know, you are not allowed to disclose such information to those who might likely use it. Otherwise, you lose your license. You lose your...
In other words, it's not ethical.
It's not ethical.
Okay, so what are the consequences?
Well, the one of the things is that lowers the prestige or the reputation of the company if it is on a larger scale, but to the director or the person in concern, loses everything that he must have acquired for a very long time if law catches on such person clearly. First of all, he will lose his job, he will lose his credibility, he will lose, or she will lose his license and all the rest of it. That's and being such things around in Nigeria over the past several years.
Should a director serve in a competing company, that is on the board of a competing company, even after the director has made the disclosure to the first board that is serving on?
Two things come here. We have conflict of interest and ethical behavior. Ethics does not allow that, but again, competition with your
a competing
company is there should be conflict of interest. That's conflict of interest. You shouldn't go there at all, even after you have left. But thankfully, the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018 has done something to give such people a leeway, if you like, cool down period, that if you have left this company, you can go back there after some years. I think in some cases 3 years cool down that you must have been there before you can go back to such to work for such a company. But you cannot use disclosure window to go to a competing company to work. It's
okay, still talking about directors now, yes, and looking at what is ethical and what is unethical. Now, can a director use the information he has received from a company he has served on, use that information in another company after he has resigned or retired from that company? Is it ethical to you? You are no longer on the board of that company.
Yes.
You have actually left the company either through retirement or resignation.
Right.
Then you are on the board of another company. You are doing your personal business.
Yes.
Then you have this information. Can the director use that information?
This is borderline between being ethical in your behavior and being very transparent, being fair. even after 10 years that you have left a company, if you know that the information that you have that you can use to your profit, to your gain, is not going to be to the advantage of the company that you have left even 10 years ago, you should not go there. You should not do it.
You shouldn't.
You should not do it, dearly.
Because I'm still going to take you up on this particular one,
Yes.
and it's this. I'm going to talk about investment.
Okay.
Now, the question is, can a director use corporate investment information in an organization if an organization does not have, the resources to take advantage of that information, or decline that advantage because it is not attractive? Now, should a director that has left the organization
That has
use that investment information?
To start with, we will ask who gives him that information to know that that investment opportunity came for the company that he had left. If he has that information from the board or from the chairman, it's a thing that they could discuss
Okay.
at a corporate level, but not because you have that information and you're using it behind those people who may not know. It will be outside of even disclosure. It's more than disclosure. You have left. The company does not have capacity to do what you are doing investment, and you come here and say, Dr. Adeyemi, I have left, but I understand that you are doing this, and can you call a board meeting or something to discuss it? I can be of assistance, that a kind of alliance. You can have an alliance. If you have an alliance in that kind of investment, you have not wronged anyone. Yes, because the company will again benefit from that kind of. That's to me what I think should happen in such a case.
Okay. Can discuss it with the board that this information, since you have declined it,
Yes.
I want to use it for so and
And
so.
we can partner if you want, because I have the capacity. Yes,
Okay.
they are being very transparent, and that's part of good corporate governance culture, being transparent.
Okay, honesty,
Yes.
integrity, fairness, and loyalty are among the desired principles of ethics. Can you explain each of these in relation to corporate governance? Honesty, integrity, fairness, and loyalty.
Okay, let me even use one of those writers who have done well. There is this Sir Nolan in England. When it was discovered that people in parliament were asking for, if you like, money before they can take questions, and there were murmurs around the UK parliament, and they set up a committee headed by Sir Nolan. Then he came up with the report. The report is big. I've had the opportunity to read some of them, but he came out with 7 principles of public life. We call it principles of public life. It talks about honesty, that to be honest is not just to do something right. That, okay, this is my company. If I do this on behalf, for myself, with the company, they might know, and it's not good for me. And I come to Dr. Adeyemi, who is my friend. I say, look, don't say I've told you, go and do it, you benefit from. You have not done it yourself, but you are pushing some other people to do it. That's insider information. That is not honesty. You have to be doing that. Fairness, you don't let your friends benefit from those things that are not fair. That your family, your friends, as according to Nolan, that's how he defined honesty. He talked about objectivity, that you should do something objectively, and a director should open, on corporate governance, should open for any kind of scrutiny that their office demands, and they should be there. Selflessness, he talked about it, and loyalty too. Loyalty to him is 100% or 0. Yes, either loyal. Yes, you can ask questions, but loyalty is either 100% or 0. Well, this is maybe controversial and debatable, but that's the side that I am on. You are loyal to somebody, you are loyal to him to that extent. And I remember, I want to bring this back, when son, Babatunde Fashola, said one day at the parliament when he was asked how loyal he is to certain people, and he said, look, may your loyalty not be tested. Because it's 100%. Really, he did not quote as 100%, but it is 100% loyalty. So if you are not loyal to a company, leave them. If you want to start disloyalty, it's better to leave. But some people, because of what they will eat or the uncertainty, the unknown things outside, if you leave the company, will not allow them to do what is right.
Okay, you have touched on the key one, the honesty and loyalty. Now, what should a company do if profitability, because companies are meant to operate and to make profit,
Correct,
if
sir.
profitability is at variance with ethical consideration?
Yes, a company, a very good company, if they are a good company and they are ethical, and ethics form the foundation of that company, balance sheet figures that is not good this time is a temporary issue. They will do it better next time, but they have to stick to their ethical foundations. So you should not be cutting corners because your profitability is low, and you find an advantage that will be unethical, and you want to do it so that your profit can be more in a certain year. You should not do it.
Okay.
One should not do it because if you are good,
Even if you are not going to make profit?
yes, a company make losses,
Okay.
and following years, if they have good people who are corporate, who have good corporate governance regime,
Okay.
they are likely to be successful in the long run.
Good. I want you to answer this question in less than a minute.
Okay.
Is ethics also good for public sector? And the other leg to that question is that what is your advice to both private and public sector on how to entrench good ethical culture in their operations?
Your first question is that whether it's good in public, and yes, everybody from the house. Ethical consideration must be given to everybody from the house to the office to the public to everywhere. You say it's difficult, yes, but people say there are bad people, everybody is bad. I don't believe so. There are so many good people around. You only need to look at yourself. Am I good? If you are, you think you're good. You see that in others. So for public and private, yes, ethical consideration. But in places like that, there are cultural, there's the cultural, there's ethical code for every organization, every community, every institution. They have their own. So it is now for those organizations to make sure that they follow the code of ethics they set as standard for themselves. And any deviation from that is punished.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babatunde PELEWURA. And that is where we are going to draw the curtains on today's episode of Corporate Governance Platform. He has said it all, that ethics is not just good for private sector or public sector, it's also very important at home. Mr. Babatunde PELEWURA, a governance expert and a fellow of ICSAN and a member of the Governing Council, we want to thank you very much for coming on the show.
I'm pleased to be here.
Okay, and for our viewers, we want to thank you for being part of today's episode. We invite you to join us next week, same station, same time. And on behalf of my producer, Adegboye Galabiro, and the technical director, David Adepoju, I remain Dr. Tunde Odeyemi. Bye for now.
Do you have continuity or association plan for your business?
Has anyone shared the concept of sustainability with you?
What about the need to protect the rights of minority shareholders?
What are those ingredients germane to having effective meetings?
For these and many more, tune into Corporate Governance Platform every Thursday on MITV, your darling station, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 at 4:30 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform is your best medium for informative and educative strategies for the practice of the corporate governance profession.
Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the